Okay, so today I have something different for you. I'm going to share a story that I was told just yesterday by a corrections officer friend of mine, and it is crazy. So grab a drink and a blanket, and we're going to talk about it. Well, hello, my spooky friends. Yeah, you have been asking for stories from police officers and corrections, that kind of thing. I would love to tell them. I have a couple, and I have some more true stories, by the way, from some of my officer friends. But if you have a police officer story, please comment below or email me at avalonCottage@gmail.com. All one word. Send it to me if it's longer, or if you want to remain anonymous, you don't want me to say your name, then email me and I will put it up there. We'll call you whatever you want to be called, okay? Now, for today, say hello to Scully because he's over here throwing a fit. I haven't mentioned him yet. We usually start out in a conversation, but Scully hasn't even heard this story yet. So, listen up and let's talk about it. Okay, so this one comes from a guy that I've worked with for the last several years. Very normal, non-woo-woo type of person, okay? Very straightforward corrections officer. And I have to change the names of some of these people. So we're going to say this is John's story, okay? So I was talking to John yesterday and I said, hey, do you have any ghost stories? I'm looking for officer stories. And he says, oh my goodness, do I have a story for you? So now the beginning of this story takes place many years ago when he was a kid. He said, I was about 9 years old when my parents divorced and my mom moved out. It was him and his sister. His mom moved out into a duplex behind this kind of local mom and pop hamburger stand, which still stands today, by the way. And so she and her friend, Carol, John's mom, is Mary. Mary and Carol move into a duplex, and, the kids come and go as they do. So John said he didn't really like the place. Like, he just didn't feel real comfortable there. But, he figured adjustment, whatever. Well, he said his sister's bedroom, and we'll call her Donna. Donna's bedroom was always ice cold, like really, really cold. And it always had a really heavy vibe. Well, when John was there, he didn't want to sleep in a bedroom. He slept on the couch, okay? And so he was laying there one night trying to sleep. And he said, you know how tables, like in a little kitchenette kind of area, it was a pendant chandelier. And I use that word lightly because it wasn't like fancy. It was one of the old-fashioned pendants that hung over the table. He said he was laying there and all of a sudden that pendulum lamp, whatever, light just started swinging really hard back and forth. And it scared him so bad. And he said the bathroom always smelled so horrible. He said it straight up smelled like a dead body. Well, he went to his mom's room, like he was done. He didn't like that place. He didn't want to come back. And then fast forward to maybe just like a month later, she moved out, which was very surprising because, she was just getting on her feet. She was waitressing. And I mean, it was a big accomplishment to get your own place, And he was surprised that she moved out so fast. Well, she didn't tell him really the reasons why, and he really didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to think about that place. So then we move on to years later when he was, much older and an adult, and she felt safe to tell him about that. So they were talking about that house one day and those times, and he told her, Mom, that place was haunted. She's like, oh my God. Let me tell you why I moved. Now, there were so many things that happened. And voices, hearing things, knocking, the whole 9 yards that we normally hear about with, hauntings. But these two incidents are what really made her leave. She said her daughter, Donna, John's sister, was sitting in a recliner and she had like really, really waist long hair. And she had it, you know how girls do when your hair gets long. She's in a recliner and she takes her hair and she flips it all the way back over the back of the recliner. And she's really into this book, reading a book. And she was really focused. And so I guess she wasn't really paying attention. But the mom saw Mary, saw Donna sitting in the chair, and all of a sudden she saw like the back of her hair, all that hair that was hanging down, she saw it rise up, and it was like up, straight up in the air, like somebody had a hold of it. And then they started twisting it and pulling. Of course, by this time, Donna realizes, oh my God, something's got a hold of my hair. She starts screaming. And so Mary yells something like, get out in Jesus' name. You're not welcome here. And the hair just drops back down. Well, of course, they were both terrified, but they didn't leave that night. What happened was a little bit later, Mary comes home and she had, in the meantime, found out what happened there, because after she started having these strange things, one of the neighbors or somebody in the area told her, they said, you know what happened in that house, right? And she's like, no, not really. And they said there was a guy, we'll call him Donald. Donald was a younger guy that was living there, really heavy on the party lifestyle. And it was kind of a party house. And one night he had too much, okay? And I don't know what they were partying with, what substance, but Donald took it too far and he started passing away. Well, when the friends realized that it was too late to even call an ambulance, they first put him in the shower. They were trying to bring him out of it, but they put him in the shower and just ran water over him, trying to get him to come back to consciousness, but he didn't. Then they moved him into what was Donna's bedroom, and they laid him out on the bed, and I'm not sure if he passed in the shower or in the bedroom, but in either case, he did pass away. So anyway, Mary is horrified, so now she knows who is haunting that duplex. So she's working at a restaurant, a nice restaurant a few miles away, and she works very late. She comes home around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning by the time they get done, and she has now grown used to the sounds and the strange occurrences. So she says, I don't know why I did this. Like, I still have no idea why I did this. But Mary said when she walked in the door, she was just like kind of being funny. And she said, hey, Donald, I'm home. And a voice answers her and says, Mary. And it's in the back of the house, like where that bedroom was. And so she's like, okay, did I just hear what I thought I heard? But she continues to walk on in the house. So the next time Donald answers her and he says, Mary, it sounded like he was just a few feet away in the kitchen. So now he has gotten so much closer. Well, then she hears her name for the third time, Mary, and it is right in her ear where she's standing. So she freaks out. She runs out the door. Even though it's in the middle of the night, she gets in her car and she just closes and locks the door because she's got nowhere to go at this time of night. So she sleeps in the car all night long. And she stayed there until the next morning when she saw neighbors coming out and, you know, felt like it was okay. Well, after that experience, she got all of her stuff. Whoops. Sachi has to be a part. So anyway, she gathers all her clothes and, you know, her belongings, whatever. She gets out and she never comes back. Now, this is a small town. So, Sachi, I don't want to see your bare butt. Okay, so So, being a small town, people talk. And so she kind of wonders, who's living in the house now. And there was an old man who had lived there after her. So she was told that the old man was put in a nursing home because he lived there and he started hearing voices or talking to things. They thought he had dementia because he was talking to somebody that wasn't there. And he would have full on conversations with this person. The person he talked to was named Donald. Yeah. So his family just thought he was, kind of losing it. Sent him off to the nursing home. I mean, that's horrible. You get sent to a nursing home and you're not even, like, demented. It's just a ghost. I mean, go try to explain that to somebody, right? So anyway, fast forward many more years, and John is now married, and, his wife works in healthcare. So, is there a relationship between y'all I need to know about? Scully, Sachi? I'm trying to tell a story here, okay? So anyway, John's wife is doing a home visit on someone who lives in this duplex behind this particular restaurant. And so he asked her about it, and she said, oh, there's a older couple living there, and the wife was kind of, had mental problems before they moved in, but she went from here to here, escalated, and now, like, I think she may have been violent. I don't know. It was like a big, big problem, and they were having to get her out of the house. And he looked at his wife and he said, do you not remember the story I told you about me and my mom living there in that house and how it makes everybody kind of nutso? And she's like, oh my gosh, the old woman is actually talking to people who aren't there and having full-on conversations. Yeah. So that is, I can't see you now because of the cat. Sachi, if you're going to stand in front of the camera, at least say hi. Got a thing going on here. I mean, today as it stands, it doesn't stand. Okay, the house has been torn down. It was old and I don't know. Thank goodness it's not there. But yeah, it's crazy how, and I don't even know all the stories through the years of the people who have lived there. But if this sounds familiar, you're in a little town in Alabama that was behind a hamburger stand, and you lived in a duplex, and somebody went off their rockers. Yeah, it could have been this one. Email me. I'll give you more details. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story. 100% true and horrifying. I have got some great other stories, jail stories, some police stories. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be doing all kind of things for spooky season. In the meantime, hope you have a great day, great weekend, morning, night, whenever you're watching this. Scully would love it if you would give a thumbs up or maybe just a little like for Sachi. She wants her 15 minutes of fame too. All right, I will see you next time. In the meantime, whatever you do, stay spooky, y'all.